Hello world, I am Sparrow and this is Hex Hold, a game I've been working on for a few months. In this video, I'll be briefly explaining about what I have implemented so far. I'm not sure why the recording is so choppy, I'll be looking into it. Anyway, without further ado, let me get right into it. The terrain editor is pretty straightforward. You have some options here. The top 4 toggles is to set the elevation according to this height. You can hold shift and use the scroll wheel to change it or set it directly using the slider or punching in a value. You can also change the brush the brush size using control. The other tools you have is to add height, subtract height. If you use either of them and hold Alt, it will use the other effect, so you can switch it up. And you can use this to smooth out the terrain. Now the bottom 4 toggles is the drop off. You have fixed, which will always be the same across the entire size. You have linear, which will drop off linearly. You have a square and an inverse square. Let's show it off better with the bigger brush. Inverse square, square. Let's exaggerate it a bit more. So you have the fixed, square and linear, and square and inverse and linear. That's the elevation, the terrain. You can open them both together or individually. This allows you to set the terrain hardness. You can have medium, hard, or the default soft. If you apply the visuals, it calculates it automatically. You'll have more control over this in the future. You can override this, but every time you apply the visuals, you're gonna get overridden yourself. And be careful not to have both of them open if you don't want to cause this kind of stuff. You can just alt click, back to normal. And you can color it. Now the water tool, you can set the depth using control and the scroll wheel too. I suggest keeping it at 1. Now wherever you click, you're gonna have a marker of what it's gonna be part of the water body. It's a float fill based on elevation. You can toggle either fresh water or salt water. This will affect the climate simulation. They don't have any visual distinction as of yet. And you can right click to remove a water body. Rivers can go into a water body, can go obviously downhill, but not uphill. Placing them can be easier if you toggle the grid using G. You can paint them very easily. If you have a water body elevated, whoops, it can flow out, but it needs to be the same elevation as the water, the terrain. And you can drag it down, do whatever you want with it, just not uphill. And the rivers can't merge, they will override each other. The roads, if you want to remove rivers, you can use this tool. Just trace the river and it's gone. The roads work very much like the rivers, but they can go uphill. They can only move one elevation, so you can go from here to here. You need somewhere like this, where the elevation difference is 1. The roads can merge, and they affect the entity walk speed. To remove them, like the river, use the bulldozer tool. If you want to remove just this connection, you can go like this, but if you want to remove everything, you can just click this and it removes everything. Now, the wind simulation. You can open the wind editor. Let's just click start, see what happens. You can see it's starting to fill up the map with wind. Not the best values for this map, not the most interesting, but it gets the idea across. To view the wind, if you don't have the wind editor open, you can click the alpha key 5, it will toggle it. If the wind editor is open, it's forced on. You can use 6 and 7, the alpha keys, to toggle the transparency and the size, so you can view it easily from afar. What the wind does is a conveyor belt for the clouds, which is the next part of the simulation. Let's stop this one. The UI is very lacking at the moment. I will have some debug views and some clocks with timings and everything soon. Still, first I need to get the temperature model done, which will be coupled with the wind. And I'm gonna force both of the wind simulation and the climate simulation to be together instead of individual. Now the climate editor, let's just click start, and you can see the humidity starting to spread. You can click 1 to view the surface humidity, and click 2 to view the ground humidity. It's gonna take a while to build up. You can press 3 to view the clouds. They're also gonna have a need to build up, and you can press 4 to view the salinity. Now let's change this water body to a fresh water body. Just click fresh. Let's destroy that. Pop that. Let's fix the river. Now you can see that it's gonna start taking away the salinity. And if you add a salt water body flowing out, it will carry the salt away. You can see the clouds are starting to build up, the humidity is starting to build up. Now, to keep things short, let's stop, clear. Let's flood it. And start the simulation again. You can see now it's starting to evaporate, it's starting to run down the mountains. See, it got trapped here. Let's see if we can release that. Here you can see it's flowing out. If we'll just smooth it out, you can see all the water is just flowing out. Now, you can do it while the climate is running, doesn't matter. If you apply visuals, it will start painting the terrain now. Now the entire map is flooded, so it's all grass, not that interesting. But just so you understand how that works. Okay, now let's stop that. You can see here the top one is your visual frame rate, that's the main Unity loop. Beneath that, the middle one is the entity frame rate, and below that is the plant frame rate. You shouldn't be all too concerned about it. Now, the plant menu, you can see all the plants here. You can select a bush, you can plant them. You can hold shift to press to place multiple, or just normal click and place one. As you can see, each hex can hold 7 plants, and where they can go depends on the climate. So if you go up to a mountain, see the bush doesn't want to go around a rocky mountain. But if we use a conifer tree, it will grow just fine. Now, to keep things simple, you can just click plant random. It will plant one random plant at each hex, and you can let the simulation take it from there. You have underwater plants, the coral reefs, and now to the animals. Yes, I'm confused by the UI too. This is where you tell it how much to place at a time. Let's go with 1 for now, and let's put down an elephant. We can just click and it pops the elephant down. You can click an entity and it will display the view here. It's gonna give you the name, the faction, the coordinates, X and Y, how much health it has, how much is that in a percent of the max health. This is the current health. Now you can see the speed. It's determined by a lot of factors, such as the age and the terrain the animal is on. So an elephant will walk slower in sand than it will on the grass. For example, you can see here, this is the age. He is 40% through its lifetime, and he's been alive for 283 days, 9 hours, 45 minutes. It's the same time as this. You can see hour, minutes, and days. Same goes with hunger, although it indicates how much it is full, how much the animal is full, not how much it is hungry. This is the time to starvation. This is the energy. This is the time to exhaustion. The M is the status for the mating. It's gonna say looking for a mate if the animal can mate. So if we'll put down a couple more elephants and just give them a second, they're gonna mate. We're gonna have a baby elephant. Wait, can he mate? No, see, he's too young to mate because he's only 22% through its lifetime. I think they need to be 30% or like 40%. Here, now on the bottom you can see the mode. Now they're finding a mate. Let's speed up. They do their business. And pop goes the baby. Now you can follow them and see what they're up to. See, the baby is very slow. It can only go 0.6 meters per second, while an adult can go 1.6. And that's only 64%. He can go 24%. This is prime prey for wolves. Right now they're kind of stupid and wander randomly. The AI went through a lot of experimentation, and now it's so many weights fighting each other. It's kind of random, but you might see a glimpse of intelligence here and there. It's mostly to test out the controller, see how much the game can cope with. So if we start spawning a bunch of animals, you can see it runs just fine. You can if every time you click, it will place the amount specified here. If you hold shift, it will repeat it. Let's move on to a big map to play with it a bit. You can see the interface. You can select what map you want to inspect. You can see the detail here. Over here goes the description. If you save it with the description. Let's hope the phone doesn't cut out. In the save menu, you can give it a name, you can give it a description, you can save it, and there you see, this is right here. Now, the delete button doesn't do anything, but you can just go to the map folder and get rid of it yourselves. If you change the folder manually, add a map or remove a map, you can click refresh and it will update the list. It's right over here, maps, just delete it, refresh, and it's gone. Now let's load our map. Okay, so as you can see, let's find a structure. Now let's go over the building mechanics. The walls right now the elevation is fixed to the terrain. So if you want to have a segment higher, you need to have the terrain higher. This will be changed and you can elevate the walls separately from the terrain, but that will come in a future update. Now the walls, to build them you just click the walls here. You can place them however you like. You can press shift and it just traces. Now to edit the walls, what you do is you shift click on the wall and you have the UI here, this UI. It's gonna improve a lot, don't worry, I know it's clunky. Now what you can do, this bunch is for the entire wall, this is the global. This will go in the middle here. You can toggle the crenellation and toggle the matriculation, however you say that. This lets you toggle the battlements for the entire wall. The entire wall. If you go select one edge, it matches your view, so you can this is this one. It will always you can always know what side you're selecting. It will pop this broken menu that lets you toggle it per side and lets you place a gate on set side. Now if you only have one gate, this is good for stairs, so the soldiers can go up the wall. If you don't have stairs, you should put another wall, at least another exit or something. You can play around with this, and you can put a murder hole, which is just a hole, so if someone is trying to attack your gate, you can shoot down on him. The crenellation provides cover from incoming fire. Pretty obvious what's going on with this. The matriculations allows you to fire at enemies right below your that are up close to the wall. So normally, if we toggle the grid, if you have a soldier here, the immediate hex next to the wall, you won't be able to shoot there unless you have matriculations. So you can, as an attacker, you can use this to hide if the wall are not matriculated. What else? That's pretty much for the walls. You can see there's a lot of castle building principles at play here. Not gonna go into too much detail. Now let's get rid of this. The bulldoze tool destroys buildings and walls. I'm gonna get to the buildings in a second. The road tool destroys roads, rivers destroy river, and plants. You can't destroy individual plants. You can only clear a hex from all the plants. Same goes with the planting. You can't decide which slot, it's random. I'm gonna have some quality of life improvements to it later. Now the buildings, wait, let's get rid of this. The buildings, it's pretty standard placement. The green area is stuff that has to be free. The yellow area is stuff that needs to be clear, but it can overlap with other green yellow areas. So you can see the yellow square is blocked by it, but the yellow is not. So if you have this, entities can still pass through here. Oh, and well, give me the house. Again, click to just place one, shift click and you can place multiple, so it won't go away. Right click and it closes the menu. If you bulldoze, you can see this. If I bulldoze here, it bulldozes both of them. Now the building is pretty standard. You press R to rotate. If you press shift, it rotates the other way. And you can just build the city like that. You know, do whatever you want. Some buildings have the option to connect with the walls. This is a good spot. If you place a tower here, you can have access to it from the walls. So you don't have to have stairs like this. You see, this is stairs. There's no stair graphic yet. Also, the murder hall doesn't have a mesh grid. Like, I don't know what to call it. A grate? Yes, great. That's great. Oh, one thing is that if you have a river, you can build a wall over it. You can see it has but hexes that have a river through them cannot have gates. That's the one limitation here. You can see it can be pretty cool having this. Now what else? Alright, let's spawn a bunch of animals. It's a couple sheep. Let's get a few giraffes. Get some elephants. Not gonna spawn camels because there's no desert here. No, not big enough desert. Yeah, some deserty patches, but it's not enough to sustain them. Now you can open the let's check out the climate over here. You can see this is the surface humidity, surface water. This is the groundwater. This is the clouds. If you can see, this is the wind map. You can see how it bends around this peak. You can see what it does to the clouds. Instead of the whole cloud going this, it has like a cavity or whatever. This is the salinity map, I think. Yes, this is the salinity map. Oh, by the way, the humidity and all these maps, you can you can use 6 to toggle the transparency, so you can view them more easily using the 6 alpha key. And you can see that the salt, what it does, it's burning the grass, leaving behind only sand, and only the palm trees can grow here. Right now they're kinda all over the place because there's not much selection. But that's some future content. You can see this mountainside is all, it's a conifer forest. That's pretty cool, I think. Now the information windows, you can see how much of each species you have. The graphs goes from 0 to 1 or 100%, however you want to view it, and it indicates how much suitable territory there is and what's the age curve, the age of the entities. So you can see in the animals, the giraffes, let's use the camels actually. The elephants, I didn't spawn any elephants. Didn't spawn any elephants? Okay. Okay, let's slow motion it. If I plop down, where's the elephant? 1000 elephants. You can see most of them come at around 35 to 50% along the lifespan, and it's dropping down. You can see some are spawned very young. Let's give them a second to disperse a bit. You can see some are young, but most are around half age. Now if we wait until they start breeding, you can see a peak on the 0 because a bunch of new babies are here. We got an influx of babies, and you can press update. You see the peak of 300 new babies. Sorry about that, had a power cut. Now let's spawn a few animals back. Oh, no, I forgot to show you. You can click V to toggle the fog of war. It also toggles the skybox. And if we just spawn, let's spawn Giraffe so it can see a bit further. You can see the fog of war. And as it's moving, it's generating. You have visible, explored, and unexplored. Okay, now let's give it a second to get hungry. Here we go. Now his state is going to hunt, and the base state is chasing. So you can see he's gonna catch up to the animal, to the prey. It's chasing, chasing, chasing. Now the prey is currently unaware but when it attacks, they go into fight. You can see that both the ship is fighting too. It wanted to eat the plant, but it's ignoring that at the moment. The reason the ship is still walking is because it has a longer attack. It can reach farther, so it's trying to move back, but the renderer is orienting towards the movement. Once I have a controller, a better controller that has a velocity and independent rotation, it's gonna fix that part, and the ship will appear to just walk back. And now you can see the hunger is full. He ate some of the animal, and soon it will despawn.